everyone, welcome back to Homemaking 101. Today we're going to be making homemade strawberry cake. So I doubled my recipe, so I have enough to make a shaped cake. So we have in our food processor, we have about 6 cups of cut up strawberries. So we're gonna go ahead and puree them down. And then we also have a pan over here that after we puree it, we're gonna dump it into our pan. We're going to put it on a medium low and cook it until it is thickened, about 28 to 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and grind these up. Pretty good. So go ahead, turn our burner on, and we're going to dump our strawberry puree into our kettle. Pop our lid. We can always take that off if we need to. And then we are going to stir it every so often so it doesn't burn. Like I said, once it thickens, we're going to remove it from the heat and from the pan. We're going to pour it in a bowl and we're going to let it cool down to room temperature. You can always do this ahead. You can do it the night before, throw it in the fridge. Just pull it out of the fridge about an hour or so before you're going to use it to let it come to room temperature. So while we're cooking down our strawberries, we're going to be making a truck-shaped cake today. We're going to be doing part of it today. We're going to be putting it together tomorrow. So what we need to do is make our diagram of kind of the outline of the bottom of our truck. So basically, you draw your truck, the square, the size that you want it. You can make it however big or small. And then you're going to measure. I did 1.5 inches in from each side, 1/2 inch up, 1.5 inches, 1/2 inch down. And then we're also going to be curving the front of the truck, so the front's not square, but the back will still be square. We're going to be cutting out, these are where the wheels are going to go. And then we're also going to be putting a block under the center of it to hold it up so that it looks like it's actually sitting on the wheels. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out. This is just a standard piece of cardstock that we're using as our basic outline. Alright, so we got it all cut out. So this is going to be the front of the truck. Front wheels, back wheels. This is just the very bottom. It might look small at first, but honestly this will be a good sized cake because it's going to be going up as well. So you're gonna have a decent amount. So we're gonna use this to trace out our cake. We're gonna lay it on top of our cake, trace it out, and then we will carve it from there. For the wheels, we're going to make Rice Krispie treats and make the wheels. So that's why we wanted our diagram now before our cake is made, because we're going to go ahead and hop over and make some Rice Krispie treats, shape them into balls for the wheels, and make sure they fit in our slots here. Our puree has been going for about 30 minutes. It reduced to about half of its size. So we're gonna go ahead and dump it into a bowl. And then we're going to let it cool to room temperature. And it has thickened up quite a bit. It's not going to be thick, but
as long as it reduces to about half and gets a little bit thick.
Alright, so we're going to set this on the counter and let it cool. For our Rice Krispie treats,
we're going to be doing, normally you do 10 tablespoons of butter. I don't have quite as many marshmallows as I'm supposed to have, so we're just going to do 8 tablespoons of butter instead.
and we're using dairy-free butter today.
We're making the cake and the icing all dairy-free. So there's about 8 tablespoons of butter. And ours is melting already because our burner is still warm. So I'm taking our
Strawberry puree off. Alright, so we're going to melt our butter.
Pour this on about medium. And then we're going to add our marshmallows as well.
You're supposed to have about 12 cups. Or sorry, 20 cups.
Which would be 3 10-ounce bags. I only have 2 bags today. That's why we did a little bit less butter. I'll add these in here as well. Get the other bag. These are going to be for our tires for our cake, for the truck.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stir that up. And then we're going to add a half a teaspoon of vanilla in there as well after we stir it.
You want to keep stirring. Oops. Keep stirring this the whole time so that your marshmallows don't burn. This is a lot of sugar in here. Add a little bit of vanilla here. Once our marshmallows are completely melted, then we're going to stir in a box of Rice Krispie treats. Rice Krispies, sorry, Rice Krispie cereal. And we're using a 12-ounce box. So our marshmallows are all melted now. So we went ahead and took them off the burner. Going to dump in our Rice Krispies. Just going to stir them in carefully.
Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and shape our tire wheels.
You could always press these into a pan and then cut them out with a circle cutter. I don't have a circle cutter, so I'm going to be shaping them by hand. Just be careful because it is going to be very hot. Press them together really well, but also try to keep your tire shape Then you're going to measure it onto your paper then to make sure it's a good size. We're going to need to make ours just a little bit smaller. A little bit long. That makes it a little bit more narrow. So about like that, that's going to be our tire. We're going to be covering it with fondant then so it'll actually look like a tire. We're going to make a couple extra just in case we mess any up. And whatever leftover Rice Krispies, just press in the pan, you have Rice Krispies then. Alright, so we went ahead and formed all of our tires, made a few extra. And then we also have our 2 pans of just the regular pressed Rice Krispies. You could always take a knife and cut out your tires as well if you don't have a cookie cutter. I am going to be saving this pan just in case these would fall apart and don't work, that I could take a knife and cut a circle out if need be. So we're gonna let these sit here and cool until they're hardened. And then we'll probably cut our tires out later this evening or tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start our cake. Our strawberry stuff is still a little warm, not totally room temperature, but I need to make it now. So we're gonna go ahead and do it anyway because we need our cakes to cool today so that we can freeze them overnight, because to carve a cake you need frozen cakes. We're just gonna give it a little stir here. We're gonna add in 1/2 cup of milk. We're using goat milk today. You can use whatever milk you prefer. Like I said, we're doing dairy free because my son can have goat milk, so we're doing that instead of like an almond milk or something like that. Alright, and then I'm going to stir in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Alright, and then we're going to be adding 8 eggs. So we're going to be switching over to a whisk because we need to put our eggs in a bowl to whisk them up and then add them into our strawberry mixture. Alright, so we mixed all of our egg in here. Now we're going to take out a cup and set aside. I'm just going to pour it into our measuring cup here. About a cup. Okay, we're going to set that cup aside. We have our oven preheated to 350. We're going to grease and flour and parchment line our 2 baking pans. You can use any size baking pan. We're using just regular sheet cake ones today because we're doing a carved cake, so we need a bigger area to work with. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we will finish making the cake. I put our dry ingredients into the bowl. We put 5 cups of flour, 3 cups of white sugar, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. So we're gonna go ahead, blend this together, just carefully. So as this is on a low speed, we're going to need about a cup or so of butter. Like I said, we're using the country crock butter. We're going to go ahead and slowly add
And then we're also going to add some unsweetened coconut cream in place of sour cream. So we're going to leave the liquid in the bottom. We're just scraping the white off the top. So we're going to add one more can of coconut cream. I'm going to stomp this for a minute and scrape the sides down before we open another can here. Actually, we might be good. I don't think we need another can. It's supposed to be dry and crumbly looking. That's exactly what you want. Alright, so we're just going to do one can. Alright, so now that we have this made with all of our dry ingredients, with our butter and our unsweetened coconut cream, we're going to add our large amount. Turn this on slowly. Our liquid here, the strawberry. Let that mix on low for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and bulk this up a little bit. Be careful not to splash. Alright, then we're going to turn it off, scrape down the sides of our bowl. Oh, buddy. It on a higher speed for a while. Going to add our reserved cup on low. beat it on high for a while again. So now that that is finished, we're gonna lower this down. You could add red food coloring if you want a red color cake. My son is allergic to red dye, so we are not doing that, which is why we're making a homemade cake, because all the store strawberry ones have red dye in them. Scrape down the sides of your bowl. Divide this between our two pans. Fill our pans here. They're going to bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. So our cakes came out of the oven. They baked for about 33 minutes. We tested the centers and they are all done. So we're going to let them cool in our pans before, cool in our cooling racks before we take them out of the pans. All right, so our cakes have cooled. So we're just running a knife along the edge just to make sure nothing is stuck. And we're going to go ahead and put them out. Just want to put your hand under it so it doesn't break. We are leaving our parchment paper on for the moment, because we're going to be freezing them to help hold them together a little bit more. This one as well. Alright, and we're going to let them sit here. Make sure they're cooled the entire way. And then we're going to wrap them in plastic wrap and throw them in the freezer so they freeze overnight. And then tomorrow they'll be frozen, so we can go ahead and put our cake together and carve it. Alright, so we got our cakes wrapped in plastic wrap the whole way around. We put a couple layers on. I did put them back in my pans just so they don't break in the freezer, because I don't have freezer space that is completely flat. If you have a complete flat shelf to put them in, that would be good. But since I don't, we're going to freeze them back in the pans and they're going to pop right out tomorrow, no problem.